Sevens TV. This is your post-match analysis video for yesterday's very frustrating, very disappointing, below par performance from the players. I feel like I've been saying that a lot in recent weeks. In a 1-0 defeat against Cardiff City in South Wales. 3 defeats out of the last 4 for Joe Edwards. Now, it's not been the greatest start to his Millwall career following up from that very, very emphatic 4-0 win at Sheffield Wednesday. It's gone completely tits up since then. As always, let's kick off the show by taking a look at the 11 that the gaffer picked to start the match. And he made 4 changes. 2 were false, of course. That was Saville coming out and Alan Campbell coming in, and Jake Cooper coming out and Sean Hutchinson coming in. Congratulations to Hutch, who made his 250th appearance for the club. Brilliant achievement. Not the greatest way to celebrate it. Of course, the other 2 changes were Matija Sarkic, which turned out to be a massively key one in the game. He come back in, arguably for Bart Bolkowski, who, in my opinion, did deserve to be dropped. And the other change was Ryan Longman back in again, alternating with George Honeyman. I don't feel like either of those are the answer. I've been through this. Honeyman, very industrious, very Millwall-like, very hard-working. You know he's on the pitch, but lacks quality. Longman has the quality, but can't seem to do it for a sustained period. When I say sustained period, I'm not talking 3-4 games or 3-4 months. I'm talking 45 minutes. And then that's an echo in a lot of the way our players are performing at the moment. The team that I thought the gaffer would go with, I'll put it on the screen now. I know hindsight is a wonderful thing, but I think that he definitely would have been better off going with that 11 there, 100%. Ryan Leonard, I feel he's wasted. Right back, he's one of the few that are in form. He's one of the few that tries to dictate and can execute passes, basic passes at the minute. So for me, that is the team that I said I thought he'd go with. He probably should have gone with. I've not got a lot of criticism for the manager, okay? The only criticism I can have is that we can all see, I'm sure you all can as well, that Ryan Leonard is performing and will be much better in that central midfield role, especially with Casper Knorr injured and George Saville absent for luckily only that one game. So for me, get Danny Mack in, be an out-and-out right back, and Ryan Leonard can pull the strings from midfield instead of being a little bit out the equation at right back, although he did get involved in some of the best things going forward for us. And I spoke to Kenny on the phone this morning. He wanted to do a podcast tonight, but we didn't have the numbers. But we are going to get back onto the Den debates. And Kenny, I've not really spoken to him much about it, but he's not overly impressed so far with Joe Edwards. I think he's the man for the job. I'll get into that in a minute. But Kenny said to me that the definition of madness is keep doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. It's never going to happen. And he linked towards suggesting that not a lot's changed so far under Edwards. He is playing sort of a Gary Rowett type way. I can see improvements. We're definitely more possession based now. And I feel that the formations, the patterns of play, etc., I feel it's all there. I just don't feel the players are executing it. And again, I do my full-time reaction and I do pride myself on thinking, a little bit of entertainment on this channel mixed in with knowing what I'm actually fucking talking about has sort of brought me to be where the channel is. It's fairly successful. It's probably the biggest in the Championship until Norwich and Leeds got relegated, but we've won awards for our channel. And I do like to think I know what I'm talking about. So I do my full-time reactions and then literally an hour later, Joe Edwards comes out and he gives his post-match analysis to the press. And once again, yesterday, he's pretty much echoed everything that I've said. So I'm on board with what he's saying. I can see it. He can see it. I'm sure a lot of you can see it. And would it be different under Rowett? Well, look, I've said this on social media today. It's a dead argument, okay? Benjamin Bloom did a show with me about who's going to be the next manager, and I asked him opinions around Gary Rowett. And he said, look, the club give Gary Rowett a contract in the summer. Okay, tragic news, of course. Our wonderful chairman, John Berylson, did pass away. So maybe things changed when James took over. But the club will give Rowett contracts, okay? Now, they expect him to honour that contract. Now, Rowett leaves the club by mutual consent, yes, and it was all nice pats on the back and handshakes and pleasantries. But in the cold light of day, the club have contracted Gary Rowett to be the manager of this football club. Now, he's no longer the manager of this football club. So, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, I've been wrong before, this is more of a Gary Rowett decision. He wants to walk away, but he don't want to completely walk away from it without any money. Of course he doesn't. I don't blame him for that. Cash take payment, Money makes the world go round. So he wanted to pay out. The club had got rid of him. Whether it was more Rowett or more the club, it doesn't matter. It was written all over Rowett's face, and I think his post-match analysis not on my channel, obviously, the one that I clipped up and I put out from the game against Norwich, where he, it's a little bit poor me. I'm away from my family. I think his body language, the way he come across, and everything he said in that suggested that it had gone stale and it was time for a change. So we can't now point back to people pointing the finger at me, and I'm up for criticism. Of course, I am. I know that with the line of work that I'm in, but also, well, Rowett, we shouldn't have got rid of Rowett. You caused this. Other people all wanted him out. It's a non-argument because Rowett was going. He wasn't invested in it anymore. It had gone stale. It was time for a change, and the change has been made. Now, I'm going to defend Joe Edwards again because I think that he wants to play away. He's got his outlook of how he wants to play. He's coached for a long, long time, although until he turned up at Millwall, not a lot of us, or if any of us, had actually heard of him. No offence, Gaffer, because I think you're brilliant and I think you're the man for the job. First of all, he's brutally honest. He don't beat around the bush. He don't dress things up, not like Gary Rowett did, in my opinion, who spoke more, who danced around it a bit and didn't really be a more matter of fact than he could have been. Edwards says it how it is, and he is now aiming it towards the players, and I completely agree with him. Would I be saying that if Rowett was still in charge? That is a fantastic question. And if I'm completely honest, I don't know, because Rowett is no longer in charge. Some of you may be saying right now as you're watching this, or you might be putting in the comments, you might be saying, you wouldn't be saying this if Rowett was in charge, you'd be blaming Rowett. I don't think I would, because what Edwards is doing is he's going to play a certain way, and he knows he's not fucking stupid. He knows he hasn't got the players to play that way. And some people have said, get what you can out of these players, the best of what you got. Arguably, Rowett did that. And then, change it when we can change it. He's already said that January is not going to be a very busy window for us, and it will be the summer. But even in the summer, we know our budget. We know we beg, borrow, and steal loans, players out of contract, undisclosed fees for maybe a few unknown players. So it's never going to change wholesale at our football club. But despite that, I respect what Edwards is doing, because he's saying, right, look, this is how I'm going to play at this football club. I think, in my opinion, so he's going to implement that top to bottom, right down to youth levels. He's been very invested in youth football, as we know now. We know a bit more about him throughout his career before he got to this point. I think he's saying, okay, I don't care if they can't do it. That's how we're going to play. And we're going to play that way regardless. That's how I'm going to run this football club. And if they can't get it, then they'll be exposed for that. But eventually, they will have to fall in line, or we'll have to get better players in that can do it. And we did have this argument under Rowett, didn't we? Or this debate and this question that we didn't know the answer to. Is it the players, or is it Rowett? I am now edging towards defending Gary Rowett, because Joe Edwards wants to play a little bit more. And I've noticed it definitely, I said we've come a lot more possession-based. I've noticed Wes Harding now getting the ball at his feet, and he's travelling 10, 15 yards into space and then looking for a pass. I'm edging more towards now that the way Edwards is trying to play is showing some of our players up for not being very good. Either not being very good, or badly suffering from a loss of confidence and form. And again, that's exactly what Joe Edwards said yesterday. I could see that we was doing the right things and we was getting into the right areas. So many of them culprits yesterday. Brook Norton-Cuffy, he gets good balls into the box, okay? He does do that eventually, but he'll do something brilliant. He'll get the ball, two players around him, he'll spin the pair of them, get into space, he'll fuck the final ball up. Zia Fleming was the worst one for that yesterday. Forging something out of nothing, and then a 10-yard basic pass. That isn't something a manager can sort out, okay? He can tell you how to play on the pitch, what formations to play, what your jobs are as an individual, potentially, if you're coming up against someone, for example, like Ryan Leonard did against Jack Clark a couple of weeks ago. But what he absolutely cannot do is pass the ball 10 yards. It is absolute basics. And yesterday in the first half, Cardiff were as bad as us in the first half. It was one of the worst adverts for Championship football I have ever seen. Neither side could pass the ball 10 yards. It was absolutely pathetic. It was Sunday League-esque. And again, he can't pass the ball for players. What he also can't do is get togetherness. He can rile them up, etc., etc. But these players know each other. They've been here a long time. We did all right the last few seasons. Last couple we've just missed out on the playoffs. Blackburn last day of the season last year. So he can't force them to be confident. He can't force them to pass 10 yards. But what he also can't do is game management. Now, I will go back to myself, and people probably think, shut the fuck up, mate. Right, when I played in goal, at any sort of level, even when I was a kid, okay, if my team's winning the game, I'm trying to kill the tempo of the game. Okay, we wasn't winning the game yesterday. Granted, I'm switching sides for my goal kicks. Ball comes over the top, I'm putting my foot on it, and I'm waiting for a centre forward to come in and shut me down. And I'm doing everything I can to game manage that game and that result and get it over the line. And it's not just as a goalkeeper. I'm just speaking from personal experiences. other positions on the pitch. There's things you can do, little hacks, little bits of experience that you just pick up playing from a kid right through. I've played with good players at vets football that haven't really played a great standard of football, but intelligence-wise, even though your legs might go as you get older, your game intelligence gets better. And some of these players have absolutely not got a clue. And yesterday, look, I'll pull some quotes out yesterday from Joe Edwards because I did quite an extended full-time reaction yesterday. So what I don't want to do is go over the same points again. So since full-time yesterday, just looking at a couple of these quotes and chats that Joe Edwards has had with the South London press. So in his first one, he's already covered earlier in this article that it was a terrible game in the first half, and everyone can agree on that. So let's leave that one there. He said it looked like a bit of a stalemate at times without the ball. We both set up similar ways. It looked like two teams were quite well prepared for what each other would do. That meant it was going to be about players being difference makers on the pitch, showing that quality and those moments to create anything. Both teams were lacking that, particularly with us. The decision-making from some players was also a disappointment for the Millwall boss. He said, at times it was early in our build-up play. At times it was when we did break through the lines and did look like we was going to progress. It was just the next decision to make another full pass or a clean pass that would progress us up the pitch. We got that decision wrong, or the pass was lacking in quality, and we just weren't able to gain any momentum in our attack, despite the fact we had some comfortable spells in the game. I could not agree more. That's what I saw yesterday. That's what the manager saw. That is good news. But the lacking in confidence thing, I don't know how he turns this around. It's not just confidence. As I said, it's game management. It's togetherness. There was a point you said in the first half where Fleming gets the ball, goes to knock it towards the touchline on the outside of him for Longman, and Longman doesn't read it and runs on the inside. Is that players not playing a substantial amount of games together? I don't know. Longman's in and out. Honeyman's in and out. And I can see why the gaffer's doing it. Because I think he's going through this side and he's thinking, fucking someone help me out here. He let himself down yesterday because he's talking about form and he took Bart out of goal. And Bart's been brilliant. Okay, I understand that Sarkic can play with his feet. I understand that Sarkic is probably the future. And Bart's coming towards the end. We know that. Bart knows that. But that was a wrong decision. If you're going on form, Gaffer, for me, that was one that you did get wrong yesterday. And you shouldn't have dropped Bart. And it proved to be the fucking decisive decision in the game, unfortunately for us. Although we probably should have been out of sight in the first half. Kevin Nisbet, right, I'm going to clear this up once and for all. I love Tom Bradshaw. You know I'll do. I can't fucking hide that fact. He scored 17 goals last season. However, I do understand, once again, Bradshaw's 31. I think Nisbet's 26. We bought Nisbet for a lot of money. He scored a lot of goals in a lot of divisions. And he is the future going forward under Joe Edwards, not Bradshaw. I get that. He scores goals, Nisbet. He struggles with injuries. If he can stay fit, he gets in good positions, gets on the end of things. He's very composed in and around the box. His hold-up play yesterday, he was the worst player on the pitch in the first half. Nisbet, I've actually looked it up. If you look at his stats there, 60% completion rate on his passes. He couldn't fucking control anything. Things were bouncing off him. If he did control me, he was passing a 10-yard pass to the opposition. He is not a striker, in my opinion, that can play up front by himself. In complete polar opposite, Tom Bradshaw come on and you all go, you get out Bradshaw's ass. He was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. Him and Watmore, and again, point back to that team lineup that I put on the screen earlier in the show, they both should have started, in my opinion. I don't know the answer. You can't drop Nisbet 2-2, but he can't play up front by himself because his hold-up play is shocking. A couple of times, he's had the opportunity to get into positions. He's on the shoulder of the defenders, looking along the line. Wes Harding carried the ball about 60, 70 yards. And somehow Nisbet, although he's looking along the line, although he's got 10, 15 seconds to time that run, he's got it wrong. He's been caught offside a couple of times. So, in regards to him, he was terrible in the first half. Longman is really frustrating because he's actually a really good player on the ball technically, but he can't seem to get his head around starting a football match. Zian Fleming has definitely put on a couple of stone out of an international break. I don't know what he's doing. And it honestly wouldn't surprise me that when Fleming's contract expires, he ends up going back to Fortuna Sittard for nothing. He looks more, look, he's a confidence type player. He looks more like he's struggling from confidence than anything, more than anyone. Fleming, he doesn't look at it at all. And again, that's why I would have took him out for his own good as well. And I would have started Duncan, Watmore. But yeah, look, we was the better side in the first half, but there was nothing in the first half. 2 shots, Brook Norton-Cuffy from range, which the keeper saves easily. Didn't have a problem with that because, as I said in my full time yesterday, Norton-Cuffy's probably thinking, fucking no, what is going on here? I'm going to have a shot myself. Don't have a problem with that. Taking the responsibility. It was powder puff for the keeper. Before that, there was a couple. He done really well, Norton-Cuffy. He got down the line, he put a cross in, and Nisbet was just arriving a bit late. And then the second one where Norton-Cuffy plays a 1-2 with Leonard, and Leonard puts the ball in, and Nisbet does arrive at the front post on his left foot, guides it goalwards. I'm not going to knock Nisbet for that because he's the striker. He times his runs well, and that's why he scored a good goal against Sunderland last week. So I'm just going to put those ones down to one, the wind potentially, and making it more difficult to judge when to arrive with the weather conditions, and two, maybe just slightly out of sync. But I didn't have a problem with that. Sarkic, I don't think, touched the ball in the first half. Sarkic didn't actually touch the ball. The first time he really had anything to do in the game is when he throws it out to Murray Wallace. In reflection, looking back, I didn't know who to blame in real time. Murray Wallace sort of running away from the ball. Player gets in front of him. They get the ball into the box and they send it forward, fires it straight at Sarkic, who dives comfortably, holds it to his right. But until that point, they hadn't even been near our goal. We had other chances in the second half. Kevin Nisbet, the free kick. He's got rid of the target there. Commentator on Millwall TV said, that was really unlucky from Nisbet. It wasn't. You just got rid of the target there. And he didn't do that. And it was wide. And then after that Nisbet free kick, that was when we started to press a little bit. And we started to cause upset in and around their box. And their defenders were panicking and thrashing at balls. And you could sense, our fans could sense it, because you could fucking hear them. The 850 are still, your own now. So enjoy your fucking roast dinner, hopefully, and chill out and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Try not to let it ruin your Monday tomorrow. But that would be that. You're sticking with me still now after yesterday. I thought I was over it. Now talking about again, it's starting to piss me off. So God knows how you lot must have felt travelling up there. And then the inevitable happens. We know it happens at Millwall. People saying it in the stream that we're going to get done by a sucker punch here. We haven't managed to get those passes right in the final third. We haven't been able to join in and do what we need to do. And we concede, and it's a horrendous goal for the goalkeeper today. And I still watched it back. I don't know what he's fucking doing. And I'm done with these keepers. Honestly, I just want us to have a good keeper. That is honestly all I want. I don't want to moan. But goalkeepers, as you know, roll me up more than fucking anything. Because honestly, anyone could have fucking just bent down and picked that up. I don't know what he was doing. It looks like he's surprised. I've watched it so many times back. He's like, what the fuck's that? Oh, it's a football, mate. You've got to save it. You're on 10 grand a week. We bought you for over £1 million. So just pick that up. It's like when your kid in school throws a bit of litter on the floor and the teacher goes, pick that up. It's literally all he had to do. And I don't know what he was fucking doing. I don't like Sarkic. Right, he's already made so many fuck ups for me. I hope he improves. He's no presence in goal whatsoever. He's no David Ford. He's no Tony Warner. I like a big fucking goalkeeper who's vocal and aggressive, and he doesn't look like he's any of those things. He looks like he's a publicly educated schoolboy from Grimsby to me. I've heard him talk. No offence to him, but he's not going to be riling people up. He's not going to be coming for crosses and fucking wiping people out, his own defenders if he needs to, and he's not going to be fucking dictating from the back. So. Yeah, lots of sheep, not enough leaders in this team. There really, really isn't. And I don't know where we go from here. I know what Edward's going to do. He's going to say, doesn't matter. This is how we're going to play. And we're going to continue to do that until we get it fucking right. But unfortunately, with some of our players, you can't teach old dogs new tricks. After that, of course, what happens? Well, we're losing now. We should be winning. All right, we'll take a point. Fuck me, we're losing. So we throw the kitchen sink at it. What more comes on? Bradshaw comes on. As I said earlier, they do more in 10 minutes than the fucking rest of them are done in 90. They're getting involved. Bradshaw goes into a corner flag, hooks one back for Watmore. One touch, bang, toe pokes it. Goalkeeper just gets in the way. And then we throw Amaku onto the Wolves. Amaku comes on, but he tries, he makes things happen. He makes more happen that's happened in the whole game. The one where he cuts in past two players, he fires it into the side net, and yes, there was players in the middle. But again, he's under pressure. You don't need that. I know you'll probably say, well, he's a professional footballer. He's got to deal with that. Yes, he has. But what is he, 19, 20 years old? He needs to be in those situations, game situations more, not when the chips are down and the fans are fucking growling and we've got 15 minutes to go in South Wales to get something back. It's too much to put on him. And while we're on the subject, Romain Esse, I don't honestly think he's at the level some of you think he currently is. I'm very surprised he's not played I think he's come on once a sub. I don't think he's played any part really under Edwards, and I thought he would do more, a lot more. But look, right at the end, we get a free kick. Amaku takes it again. I'll take the responsibility because you can see he's got the fire in his belly. Fires it into the wall. Someone goes stab it in. Cardiff player clears. And it's fucking game over. Full time. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming. Enjoy your 4.5 hour round trip home. You got fuck all out your day other than an headache and got the ump. So, yeah, it's not good. It's not good. And I think now the way we're trying to play a little bit more, good job we didn't get someone in that wants to totally fucking try and play pep ball, because we'd be embarrassed. And we could well get embarrassed on Wednesday at Leicester, because we need players, experienced players that have played football at high levels, regardless of maybe not currently this level, as a kid, coming through youth systems, coming through international youth systems. You know, they've all done it. They've all been, as kids, probably the best player in their team, you know, and that's to take that responsibility. But they're all fucking hiding now. They can't pass from A to B. There's no leadership. There's no togetherness. There's no confidence. And as Pete said, it's a sinking ship. I still don't think it is. I still think we're going to be fine this season. I do believe that, and I will back Joe Edwards to the hilt. If we finish one place above the relegation zone, I won't have a problem with it. Joe, even if we got relegated, I don't think I could blame him. I couldn't really pin this on him. And this isn't his problem. It isn't his fault. He's been dealt this hand. Yes, he took the job, but maybe he didn't realise the fucking monumental task that was in front of him. This is all, and I'm not blaming Rowett either. This is all a backlash of everything now. You get, look, I started the channel nearly 8 years ago. It'll be 8 years in March. Come in, start the channel, perfect time. Missed out on the playoffs first season. Second season, we got promoted. And then we've built. And then these players have aged. The squad's aged. And slowly now, it's hit that peak and we're coming down. It happens to all football clubs. It does. You know, we're very lucky to be where we are. And I do think we'll be safe this season. But let's not blame Rowett. Let's not blame Harris. I mean, we still got Neil Harris's. If Bart would have played yesterday, we still would have had three of Neil Harris's back four, wouldn't we? Or four of the back five. Ryan Leonard was a Harris signing. So I think the rebuild will come. I think it will start defensively, as I've said. But we just need to invest. And I think we're a little bit of a catch-22 at the minute. I don't think we can invest too much. And I think that's why they've given Edwards the job, because I think they'll give him time and he needs time. I don't want to keep changing managers. That's not for me. So what we do long-term, look, I don't know the answers. I really don't. But right here, right now, we've got a fucking bigger problem, which is Wednesday night when we go away to face the runaway, free-scoring league leaders, Leicester City, who spanked fucking Plymouth 4-0 on Saturday. So massive game on Wednesday. A lot of people saying we're going to get totally embarrassed. I'm not sure what I think yet. I'll save that for tomorrow because I will be back for a Leicester preview. Dig in. It's going to be tough. We've had some very good times over the last 8 years, though. So let's take that on board. And now times are going to get hard. We've got to dig in together. We've got to get behind the manager and hope the players shake themselves out this fucking rut, take a bit of responsibility as men and as professionals who are very highly paid and go, right, fuck this. Let's club together. Let's get this out. Because it's not going to be good for them as players, the club, the fans, nobody, if we go down after all the fucking hard work Neil Harris, Gary Rowett as well, and John Berylson have put in over this last 8 years to stabilise us as a championship club. I'll be back tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Please subscribe to Lions TV. Come on, you Lions.